Welcome, everybody. I think we're just letting people into the room. Blessing, you're going to manage the waiting room. Are we ready to jump in?
Yeah, we're ready. We're ready.
Awesome. Great. Well, welcome, everybody. We're very excited to have you all join us today and very pleased with the response and turnout. Blessing just shared with us that we had about 190 registrations, which is very encouraging to see so many people keen to find out all the great work that's being done in Kenya and hopefully give you all some inspiration and some examples to follow in your markets and destinations on how you can have more transparent and meaningful impact working with the people and places where you're operating. And then for those international partners where you're selling as well. We're pleased to have a very exciting representation of the most recent Ecotourism Kenya Warrior Awards. And this marks the inaugural year of a beautiful partnership with ATTA to collaborate, because as we know, it is all about collaborations and partnerships. So we will dive in a bit deeper with an introduction of our four lovely panelists and what they do. But I just wanted to give just a quick overview of an invitation to each of you participating, that as you listen to these speakers, please try to keep in mind and take note of how some of the stories that they're sharing, examples that they're giving, can be something that you can take back to your teams and also to your markets, even your competitors, because these really are going to be scalable and tangible examples that each of us can do to make a difference. And I know I keep banging on about this, but I promise you the level of pressure that you're going to start feeling from DMCs and from your international B2B partners is going to be tremendous as a result of these EU and global regulations to really, really monitor and demonstrate your CSR and your environmental and social impacts. So I think there's going to be a lot of great takeaways, and all of these panelists and brands have been very open to share and to give their examples and their learnings. And so hopefully the engagement will continue after this call. So with that said, I'd love to introduce you to the two fabulous representatives from ATTA and Ecotourism Kenya. For those of you that haven't had the pleasure to meet the new CEO of ATTA, we've got KG on the call, if you'd like to say hello.
Thanks. Thank you, Melissa. Thank you, Melissa. Good morning, everybody. My name is Ramotea, and as Melissa has already said, I am the Chief Executive Officer for memberships here at ATTA. We are very happy to welcome all of you on this webinar that we're collaborating with Ecotourism Kenya on shaping sustainable destinations. We're particularly happy to have the Warrior Award winners who are going to be sharing what we hope are really insightful and, as you say, Melissa, actionable points that all of us can really learn from going forward. I think they're winners for a reason. And I don't know about you, but I love hearing from winners, because then you tell us exactly what we can do to also win. So thank you so much for this. To those of you who don't know ATTA, we are a Pan-African network of suppliers of accommodation, but we also have members who are tour operators, PRs, representation companies, and you can find all information on www.atta.travel. We're happy to have you joining us all this morning. And Melissa, handing over back to you so that my counterpart at Ecotourism Kenya, Ms. Lynette Kamonde, can also say a few words. Thank you, and I hope for a very insightful webinar.
Thanks, KG. Great. And then, of course, for those of you that know, I've got deep roots in East Africa, having lived in Tanzania. So I'm a huge fan of the work that Ecotourism Kenya does. And it's an incredible team led under the leadership of our fabulous data, Lynette. We want to say hello to everybody.
Okay. Thank you so much, Melissa. And also thank you, members, together with our partners, for joining in. Good afternoon, morning, and also depending from where you are. Welcome to today's insightful webinar. This is a webinar that is jointly hosted by Ecotourism Kenya together with ATTA And we're just honored to have you all. So the webinar is courtesy of the 2024, that is the Ecowarrior Award. And the award itself is a premium initiative and platform by Ecotourism Kenya that recognizes excellence in sustainable tourism and also conservation. And we are thrilled that ATTA were among the sponsors that supported us during this initiative that is in 2024 under the Beyond the Trophy campaign, which was launched in 2022. And the panelists today, they are further among the winners from last year. So we just selected a few who are going to share today their experiences. And our today's conversation is very key, especially in the tourism sector. And the global and tourism industry continues to evolve. The role of sustainable tourism in shaping destination is very critical and also very key. And with the climate change and also biodiversity loss and social economic challenges impacting the tourism and travel, there is the urgent need for us to have a collaborative action that balances conservation and community well-being and also responsible business practices. At Ecotourism Kenya, we are committed to promoting sustainable tourism models that not only preserve our natural and also cultural heritage, but also create an economic opportunity for local communities. So in this session, the panelists are going to share, to explore innovative approaches and also the best practices that are driving meaningful change in sustainable tourism, and also how the stakeholders in the tourism and also the local communities can work collaboratively to build destinations that are not only profitable, but also sustainable and regenerative. So I encourage all of us, let us just engage actively, ask questions, let's share your insight, and also be part of this movement for shaping future of sustainable tourism, not only now in today's discussion, as I welcome Melissa, who is our moderator today. Karibu sana dada, and thank you so much.
Thank you, Lynette. Thank you very much. Okay,
Over to you,
great.
Melissa.
Yep. Good. So we've got a wide representation of different sectors of the tourism supply chain. As you can see, today you're going to hear from one of the largest global operators, Intrepid, and then a very well-known African brand, Asilia. And then we've got two fantastic panelists that represent some partnership collaboration from the biodiversity sector. So today we're going to start, and I'm very excited to introduce you to Max from Mugie Conservancy. So Max is going to share their stories and some of the highlights of why they were chosen as one of the winners of Ecotourism Kenya Warrior Awards. So Max, would you like to jump in and say hi to everybody?
Melissa, I don't think Max is with us yet, so we might just
Oh, he's not. I thought I saw him. No?
Yeah, but he dropped off.
Okay. Oh, okay.
Yeah.
Well, everyone knows TIA, East Africa Network, isn't quite as solid as South Africa, although we've got load shedding again. So I guess I probably shouldn't say that too soon. Oh, he's coming back on. Let's see.
Yeah.
There's Max.
Sorry, guys, I had a bit of a network drop off.
TIA, welcome. We're just bragging about how great you are and all the wonderful work that you're doing at Mugie Conservancy. Would you like to share with the group?
Yeah, let me get a presentation going. Where am I? Here. Share the screen. All right, I should have this. We got it yesterday. Share. Can you see my screen?
Wonderful.
Hold on. Where is he gone? There you go. Does that work?
We got you. Well done.
All right. So, hi everyone. Max here from Mugie Conservancy up in Laikipia. Well, we were winners of the Ecowarrior Awards this year. And so here's a quick presentation of what we do and what got us there, really. So just simple vision and mission, as every company. But in very simple, in Mugie, we do try to engage with communities, governments, NGO, as many groups, individuals as possible in order to create a commercial profitable enterprise that obviously contributes towards sustainability in the long term, especially in terms of conservation. So the story, Mugie was founded in the 50s. It has changed ownership many times since then. It's changed structure as well. But today we are quite settled towards combining sustainable conservation, rangeland management, community collaboration, responsible tourism, in order to achieve something that will leave a good impact in the future. As for all of you, here's where we are. So that's a bit of the Laikipia, Kenya, Laikipia landscape. You can see all the various conservancies and community conservancies around there. And then Mugie, which is a funny shaped triangle. So Mugie plays a key role in connectivity. We connect pretty much the Great Rift Valley with the Laikipia Plateau and northern Kenya. So it plays an important role for conservation of species and also to connect wider landscapes, which allows for reduction in human-wildlife conflict and obviously species diversity. That's our holistic approach. So what we do in terms of agriculture and tourism and income that comes in, it just gets put into conservation and social impact, which then fits into the mission of Mugie. Then, so main challenges we have is human-wildlife conflict. There's quite a lot of illegal activities. There's overstocking and land degradation outside the Conservancy, especially to the north, and obviously lack of education to a certain extent, and obviously connectivity, which is related to, mostly habitat fragmentation that is related a lot to linear infrastructure, which is made of roads, power lines, whatever it might be. And then up in here, okay. So solutions we came up with was obviously a community office to have a better engagement with the communities, is what's going on. Rangers and security, which plays a key role in data collection, which informs decision making, I would say. Just to, so what we do is based on some data and it's not just out of the sky. Rangeland management, so throughout livestock and ultra high density grazing that we do with it, we try to improve the health of the rangeland. And obviously mobile clinic and health outreaches. So we have a clinic, the little orange Land Rover, and that goes out in the community and supports people where needed. Commerce and partnerships, that's something we're really active on, especially also very related to the community. So there we put a picture of the honey. One big project we do is like various honey projects around the community, and then we purchase the honey from the community and we sell it here, we sell it to our tourism partners, we sell it in Nairobi. And then wildlife corridors and monitoring, which is key. You can see these elephants just coming across a tarmac road. So it's very important to keep all that data. Security, we just got quite a strong security team, and the main role is to do patrols and collect as much data as possible as wildlife movement. On tourism, so we've got various partners. I'll put like 4 very quick bullet points. But tourism is quite key, I will say. There's community support that we do through the tourism partners. So that entails in our medical outreaches, community engagement. The tourism partners are there with us. They go onto the ground. They sell this to the clients. The clients support Mugie by donating cash for an outreach or whatever it might be. But it's that engagement with the tourism partner that allows you to improve your impact. And that's obviously, community point of view from a conservation effort. And then also is the building of that experience for a tourist, like very often a tourist would come to a beautiful place, see some lions, see some elephants, see a beautiful landscape, and then he's chuffed going back home. But the tourist doesn't really know what it takes to keep the lion there and to make sure the lion has enough zebras to eat and the lion doesn't eat your cows and the elephant doesn't go across your fence to cooperate in the community. So it's a very important engagement, and we have seen it here in Mugie how the experience from the tourist, it improves a lot more, knowing what the money, like the Conservancy fee, what it goes towards, how it's invested. So obviously, you know, we engage our partners. We have monthly meetings with all tourism partners, and the clients, they will come into our offices, they'll come into our ops room, they'll understand the security side of things, then they'll go to the dip day, see the livestock being dipped, understand what goes around the livestock, then they'll go for cultural visits in the various villages around Mugie. They'll learn more about the history and the culture of the people around Mugie. And you know, like Mugie is not just Mugie, it's Mugie and our neighbors, our community. So we're all together, we're all in the same boat. So from a tourism perspective, that really changes a lot. And also the fact that, you know, it's not just your cow and your elephant. You have, so like they see the cow and they'll be like, okay, where's the cow next to the, in a protected area in the middle of that? There's part of allowing it to keep it. And also the farm to table is quite cool. You know, when they go past a little fenced area, they see the cabbages and the spinach that they're going to have for dinner together with the cow that they're going to have the next day for lunch. That's it's quite an experience, I would say. Anyway, so yeah, you've got a bit of agriculture. It shows you, so with the apiary, the livestock, and grass fields. Conservation, obviously, we really focused on corridors, human wildlife conflict resolution, data collection and monitoring, an environmental recovery plan, which is quite key, water conservation, especially promoting it out in the community. And then obviously we have several identified mammal species, birds, endangered species that we work towards protecting. And here's wildlife corridors. We have so many across. There's a highway that bisects Mugie, so that's a huge challenge, and we're working with our partners and at various levels to see how we can best mitigate the negative infrastructure. And then the fence line around Mugie, which is this one down here, it helps a lot, and the community is really appreciated, as is doesn't stop your impala and your zebra from jumping off, or your lion, but really helps stopping the elephant crop raiding, which is very damaging. Here again, our data collection. So we can create maps like this. That's a map of a cheetah that helped us identify where to put corridors on the main road, so to ensure that animals can move safely from one side to another. You can see like a short-term fencing, and you can see my car there. You can see the difference between inside the fence, how's the grass, and outside where there's no management of your grassland, how it can be easily degraded. Whilst with a fence and a bit of management, the grass can be a lot healthier even during dry season. And then social impact, obviously mentioned that very quickly. This is some of the stuff we do: outreach, training, women's groups. We engage them a lot, especially with tourism partners, commerce and partnerships, micro enterprise grants. So that's very much a seed funding opportunity for communities. And that fund is also supported by partners, school education and support, the Mugie Clinic, and then just some other things we work, a bit more in detail, which I'm not gonna go too much into it. And then the community support, so lots of meetings, lots of engaging people, see how can we work together, how can we support each other, and it's very interesting what comes out of these meetings. And there's sometimes the solutions that you think you could never find. You go to a meeting and it's discussed, the solution is there, and then you all work towards together. So general health services, immunization, all these sorts of stuff here. And then so I would say that's from me.
Great.
It's a lot to take in.
Yeah, it's a lot. It's a lot. Thank you, Max. I think this is amazing. I think that we all, no matter what destination that we're operating in or selling in, there's an opportunity similar to what you're presenting here in each of the destinations. And it seems like what you guys have done have really taken a holistic approach to address both people and places, and offered a lot of solutions to the various needs. So I guess for the audience and for those that will listen to this later, can you just share your best practices of how you, from your end, you're making that linkage to the tourism-based companies? Like, are you communicating, or have you created essentially, let's say, a menu of ways that they can financially or logistically support you, and then encouraging or inviting these businesses to say, hey, you can sponsor the collaring of an animal for this amount, you can sponsor this need for a
Yeah.
clinic, you can, like, can you just speak about what that looks like so people can
Yeah,
understand?
no, 100%. So it's the way I always say it is how you sell it. Mugie has fence lines, it's got roads, it's got power lines on the boundary, and that's is this development, and development is there. It's how you sell it. And then the way we also do it, we do have monthly meetings with our current tourism partners, where together we develop how to tackle certain issues, or how to go about the medical outreach and who's going to help where. And when we do have those outreaches, like the partners themselves, they'll come with the vehicles, with the staff, the help. So it's a very engaging activity. We're all in there together. And then when you mentioned coloring and stuff like that, obviously that's very dependent on KWS permits and the need for a management collar. But when we do, like, we replaced the lioness collar, was 2 days ago, and it was a total collaboration. So like the tourism was one of our tourism partners that we had on our communications, like, guys, we need to color those lions, please, can we fund it? And one of our partners, when they're out at 6 a.m., they found it, they stayed with it until KWS arrived, whilst my team kind of left them there because they had to go fight a fire outside. So try to help each other wherever we can. So it's a total collaboration. Like, even the other day, we had an elephant that was injured. KWS arrived. The lodge came with like 3 vehicles with kids, grannies, everybody was there. Just, it's just an experience to see, like, see a monumental thing on the ground being looked after by a vet. It's just like, it's so cool.
Great
so
example.
it's just creating all of that, and 100% we're on it together. If the tourism does well, we do well, and if we do well, the tourism does well. So it has to be a mutually dependent relationship. And the more engagement you have, the more the partners are keen on it, the more, like, like, oh, can we do this? Like, oh, can we open a road here so we can go see the view from the top of the hill? Or
exactly.
and
Yes, well
helping
said.
with the collective as well.
Yeah, exactly. Thank you, Max. This is amazing work. And after the seminar, the ATTA team will send out everyone's contact information. So if people have more additional specific questions, or how they can support or get involved, especially if you are operating or selling this destination, then it's an excellent project to get involved with. Before we segue over to Irene from Intrepid, I just wanted to share with the group as well, for like takeaways and learnings of this is again, more than ever, it's going to be vital that you're demonstrating throughout your operations and your supply chain procurement to your business partners the impact that you're having. And it must be transparent, because this greenwashing that the industry is notorious for is just, it's simply not going to be tolerated anymore. I know that, all of us go to these trade shows, locally and internationally every year, and it's a huge financial investment. And I represent over 30 international agents. And when I go to rep a buyer and I'm sitting across from an accommodation provider, an operator, and they're telling me their story about CSR, it's almost sad, like how not authentic or sincere it is. The story that people say, well, we employ people from the local community, or we don't use straws, or that's just not enough. They say we support the local school, and I'll say, okay, great, but how? Like, each of you, regardless of where you're at in the supply chain, are going to have to start demonstrating actual, tangible financial and logistical support for these community projects. And then it's up to us to be communicating and working with these partners on how that is easily done and accessible for you. So the burden isn't on you to have to find these projects and create these projects. So I'd love for that to be one of the takeaways for everybody here as using this great project as an example of how you can engage on a very high level and project like this. So thank you, Max.
No worries, but yeah, 100%. And transparency, no transparency is not going to go anywhere. It needs to be all there on the table, and issues, no issues, whatever it might be, on the table, and that's the way to go.
Fantastic. Great. Thanks for that, Max. Okay. Everyone knows I could go on forever about these things, but I want to make sure that we stay on track and on time. So I'm very excited to introduce, I'm sure Intrepid needs no introduction to anyone, as it is absolutely one of the largest, but without a doubt, one of the leaders in meaningful, sustainable, responsible tourism. And I'm sure Irene will speak to this, but I want to brag about Intrepid, because in the work that I do in sustainability, and my colleagues as well, we're constantly using Intrepid as an example that their policies, their procedures, whether it's internally for HR or external for client comms, or it's their partners, they have made all of those documents open source for the entire industry. In fact, they invite everybody, please copy paste, learn from, all the years and resources that we've invested into trying to make the most impact in the most effective and efficient way. So for those of you that find the sustainability journey and conversation overwhelming, I encourage you to go to Intrepid's website, and at the footer, all their policies, it's all open source. They say copy, paste it, take it, because they know from a global perspective that it's community led, that the impact is real. And, they are generally one of the companies that live this on every aspect of their business, but really want to make a difference for the industry and the places they operate. So with that said, Irene.
Thank you, Melissa. That's an awesome introduction. Thank you very much. So I will go straight into sharing what Intrepid does in the space of shaping sustainable destinations. So we look at the tourism value chain as a whole. And for us, when we look at the value chain, we are looking at, tour operators being at the top there. We are looking at suppliers, and we are talking about suppliers. In this case, we are talking about the transport providers. We are talking about the vendors. We are talking about the hotels. And then we are also looking at the government sitting in the value chain. And how does the government come in? Of course, the government owns the parks that we visit, the roads, the infrastructure provided by the government. We are looking at the policies. We are looking at the levies by the government. We are also looking at, in the value chain, we are looking at the community, which plays a very vital role in, because some of these destinations are community-based or are run by the community, and they participate. Some of the community members are employed in these facilities. So they play a very vital role in the value chain. We are also looking at the most important person in the value chain, the end user, that is the customer. So when we look at the value chain as a whole, with all these stakeholders, we are looking at Intrepid being a tour operator. We are looking at how can we participate in shaping sustainable destinations, and what are we doing right now? What are we wanting to do in the future? And so I'll just share what we are doing at the moment. So what we are doing at the moment is looking at the product that we want to put into the market out there. So the product, because this is the end use, the end user will consume this product, despite all these other people being in the middle. So are we producing services and products that encourage sustainable destinations? So we are looking at if you look at our products, we are looking at inclusive products. And what do you mean by coming up with inclusive products? So we have a very vibrant product team that look at different needs of people who want to consume these services of tourism. So we have come up with different products for different ages. If you look at my pictures, you can see we have products for ages 18 to 35, because their needs might not be the same as the needs of 60 to 70 or 60 and above. We have people who are adrenaline junkies, people who just want to have a lot of activities during their vacations or during their trips. And then we have people, who have come from where they're used to the, brick and mortar world. And so they just want to go into the wild and do some camping and interact with the wild, interact with the animals, and, be in the wild, different from what, they're used to. We have categories of people who are looking at expeditions. We have people who are looking at wildlife. We have people, some trends in the market now. We have women expeditions, trips that are only designed for women. And then we have people who are just foodies. They just want to go and taste food from different communities or from different regions. And then we have trips that we have tailor-made for families. They are family friendly. The places that they visit can accommodate children, can accommodate the whole family. And then we have products for the explorers. People want to go to different, out of what they're used to every day. And then we also have products that are tailor-made to an individual's needs. Particular, I want to visit this area, I want to visit this, I want to immerse myself in this. So we have those different products. And then we have, urban adventures. I just want to come to Nairobi and experience what happens in Nairobi. What is the nightlife like in Nairobi? What is the city like? I just want to go and visit the city. I want to go to the markets. I want to go and visit the local communities. So urban adventures. And then we have solo travelers. So we have created products that are inclusive. And these products ensure that we do not rely on one particular area. For example, Kenya, what everyone knows when you go out there is wildlife. But do we have more than wildlife? Yes, of course. We sell culture, we have sports, we have, apart from wildlife, we have, expeditions. So many different places in Kenya can be curated to provide very good tour products. So we have ensured that our products are inclusive. They cater for different people. They cater for different tastes. They cater for different, fitness. People who are just around focused on fitness. So how then does this type of product ensure that we are shaping sustainable destinations? It ensures that we are not only going to the Mara, so we are only waiting for the peak season to go to the Mara, because the Mara season is between June and all the way to September. So we are not only waiting for the wild beast migration for us to run trips. We are looking at when can we go to Samburu and indulge in their culture. So when we are not going to the Mara in the peak season, then it means we are taking this to Samburu. We are talking about social, economic, and environmental sustainability at this point. So we are supporting the communities in Samburu. We are supporting the communities in Kisii. We have a product that if it leaves Nairobi, passes by Kisii, goes to the soapstone place and sees the way the community around there makes their products. They support them, they buy them. So it means that these products we are able to spread our products throughout the region, and we are able to ensure that different regions are supported socially, economically, and environmentally. Some of the places that we visit, for example, when we go to Amboseli, we are supporting a community known as Patinai Osim. This is a Maasai community that we support. And if you go to our website, you'll see the work we are doing with this community. And we can visit them at any time. It doesn't mean that we will sell that product only when it is the high season. We can sell this product in January. We can sell this product in May. We can sell this product in December. So it means this community then get support from the clients that we take there. They can, we support, for example, their tailoring department for the women that they're supporting. Their children are going to school, we support that school. So it means then we make tourism an everyday thing. We are trying to make tourism not a seasonal event, where if it is the low season, then we close shop and people go home. Families miss out on their economic income. So we try to make sure that tourism is sustainable throughout the year. And now what we are looking for in the future is partnering with different, partnering with the government to get into those areas that are yet, we call them the hidden gems. We are so that the government, we can partner with the government, work on the infrastructure. We want to partner with people like, the conservancies like Mugie. We want to partner with them and sell, on their behalf, or partner with them and create products that can, go beyond our borders. So we want these partnerships. We want partnerships with the local bodies. Now we are working very closely with ecotourism, and they're actually seeing what we are doing. So those partnerships will ensure that, we support activities that promote sustainability, economically, socially, and, environmentally. So we are looking for those partnerships. We are looking for areas that we can support other organizations, even coming together to support other tour operators. We might be competitors, but we can collaborate and, work on those hidden gems and say, you know what, this is a place that we can visit. How can we come in and play a vital role? So Intrepid, so Intrepid does that. And we are very committed to sustainable tourism and inclusive travel for all individuals.
Fantastic.
That's
Great. Thank you so much, Irene. I feel like, again, for the audience and for everyone else, I think Intrepid's a good model and a good example. I mean, your vetting process to be a partner or supplier is very thoughtful. It's very intentional, and it's quite hectic, but that speaks to the credibility of that, that your value supply chain is having a positive social or environmental impact along the way. And so that's why Intrepid is able to make the promises that they are to their consumers and to the trade, is because you do that. And again, I know I keep banging on about this, but what you've done as a private entity to do that for your brand and for your ethos is what's actually being regulated now at an EU and UK and global level that is going to impact every single tourism-based business in Africa, whether you have heard about it yet or you believe it's going to happen or not. The auditing process, if you are selling or working with DMCs, or you are a DMC, or you're a product that is selling to an international agent, this auditing and the requirements are going to be, you're going to be highly scrutinized. So again, I think it's good to look at some of these best practices from competitors and from peers and colleagues in the industry, so that you have a roadmap, an example to start from, so that it doesn't become so daunting and overwhelming and you feel like you can't engage because you don't know where to begin. I just wanted to point out one more thing that you shared too, that your business model, the diversity of your client base. I mean, that's something that I hope everyone on this call is taking note of and takes back to their teams, because not only does that make good economic business to have coverage, if one target demographic or audience or source market is hit, that you've got backup and redundancy. But the fact, like you said, that it's spreading the economic empowerment across regions. And, we hear all these stories about over tourism in Europe and the impact that that's having. And people think, oh, that's never going to happen in Africa because, we're just geographically so spread out. But we know that's not true. I mean, We've seen, look at Tanzania, for example, the issue with, seeing 30, 40 vehicles at one kill site, or, or during the migration, the blockage that the animals can't cross over, or, it's too easy for so many operators and agents to sell the same copy paste itineraries. And so I challenge everybody on this call, and certainly everybody in the industry, to start really diversifying, think outside the box, like work with your peers and your competitors to start spreading that, spreading the load geographically and economically to other lesser known regions. And if you do any search or study, that's the trend. I mean, people are looking for these more authentic, remote, lesser traveled experiences. And the first ones that do that are going to have a better marketing story to tell, because that's going to be your vibe and something that you're offering that not everyone else is. So thank you so much for sharing that, Irene. And I know for sure you'll be very happy to share any information or resources with anyone that approaches or asks for it. So we appreciate you being here. Thank you very much. Next, we're going to mix it up a little bit, and we're going to speak with Peter from Ngare Nadir Forest, and he's going to tell us about the incredible conservation work and impact that they're doing with their project. Peter, karibu.
Hi, everyone. I'm Peter, the manager of Ndare Forest Trust, and I will give you the story of Ndare. Beginning 1992, conservation efforts started in Ndare Forest, and it took the efforts of the community and government agencies and large-scale farms to do conservation for the start. So I will focus on 3 issues. 1 is conservation. 2, I'll focus on commerce, especially the tourism part. And thirdly, I'll focus on community and how all these 3 are working out in Ndare for sustainability. So the story begins in 1992 when the communities around here were facing human-wildlife conflicts, and there was need to do a fence around the forest. You realize Ndare Forest is in between Mount Kenya, biosphere, and northern Kenya. So most of the wildlife grows here. And so you will find all the big 5 in this forest. And so the main thing that happened at that point was to contain wildlife in this ecosystem so that they do not interact negatively with the community. So with time, there was the fence which was done, and the registration of the trust so that it could go on with the conservation efforts. So guides were, community scouts were employed to monitor the fence and to patrol, to do basically conservation work. And that has gone on and on up to this point, and we are not stopping yet, because that is what keeps this destination in a pristine state. I'll be also talking about the cultural experience that guests get when they come and interact with the community here. The community here, we have pastoralists and agriculturalists, and we have a mix of both. So the pastoralists especially, they love to display their culture. And when the guests come to Ndare, they get to experience that. 20 years ago, at around this time in 2205, ecotourism started in Ndare. And knowing that Ndare is a public forest that is managed by the government, the community asked for permission to run the forest. And so Ndare Forest Trust was granted a concession. And for the record, Ndare Forest is the only public forest in Kenya where a community have been granted a concession to run ecotourism and fully manage the forest. So That happened beginning of 2005. And in 2009, that concession was put into pen and paper, and it will take us up to around 2042. When that happened, we increased our ecotourism infrastructure. And when you come to Ndare, you can do the hikes in the forest. Then we have trails. You can do bird watching very early in the morning. We have a canopy walk, which at some point was the longest in Eastern Central Africa. So you can do that canopy walk. We have rock climbing, which is an adventure sport. And if you dare do that, you come and watch it here. We also have sport fishing and forest camping, swimming in the blue pools. We have naturally blue pools in the forest, sources of Ndare River, water gushing out from a rock. Those are things that guests love to do. And if you find you cannot walk, you cannot hike, you can do a game drive and do some beautiful wildlife viewing. So we've built some ecotourism package in Ndare. We mostly do day trips. And in a year, we receive about 9,000 guests who come and give us an opportunity to serve them. And it becomes an opportunity for Ndare to earn revenue. Now, part of that income that we get goes back to the community. First, we spend a lot of that in conservation of the rich biodiversity that we have here, including the endangered species. Secondly, we promote eco-friendly activities like solar-powered systems and waste management, and we also restore these forests to its natural state. So basically, that is what we do. And beginning 2015, we've begun the Community Livelihoods Project, where we reach out to the community around the forest. We have, within a radius of 5 kilometers, 17,000 people. Border these forests, of threat to the forest. So we reach out to them and we do water harvesting together. We do biogas units with them. We give scholarships to the students who in high school and colleges around the forest. We have also energy saving jikos and stoves. And we have micro projects like small water projects, building of classrooms and equipping of libraries around the forest. Now, what we've learned along this journey is the need to engage the local community, because they will be there for the long term to interact with that destination. So we have community meetings and engagements that we talk together, how to manage it to make it better, and how to share the benefits that we get. Secondly, and which is key, is compliance with government and industry regulations. In a place like Kenya, we know we have quite a number of government regulations, and especially for us, which we are a public entity and also must comply with government regulations. So there is a lot that we have to do, and to ensure that every single year we comply so that we become the destination of choice. Thirdly, we indemnify the community entity against third-party liability. We know such a forest is a place where guests come, they can interact with wildlife, and they can also have a small accident while they are hiking or swimming or up in the canopy walk. So we let them know that adequately so that we do not bear the cost of that liability. Fourthly, is that we undertake conservation efforts to preserve the ecological integrity of this destination. So we do a lot of patrols. We have a workforce of rangers who do that. We do tree planting, we do gully healing, we do that waste litter collection, and that also contributes to zero carbon footprints, so that everything that we do here does not contribute to any carbon emissions. We first make sure that we do not have illegal activities in the forest like logging or charcoal burning. And also we educate our guests so that all the things that they do does not contribute to carbon emissions. And lastly, everything that we do goes back to the community and supports community livelihoods. So Melissa, I think that was my time. Thanks.
Great, asante sana. So I think this is such a great example of not only a product that should and can easily be promoted more actively. I think you said you get an average of 9,000 guests annually. Is that correct?
Yep.
So there's a huge opportunity there for people that are selling Kenya and operating in Kenya, you know, to the point that we made earlier about promoting lesser known destinations to spread out the crowds and to give to economic empowerment. I mean, this is a win-win. Like obviously the community support and also just an amazing product to include in an itinerary for those that want something different. Peter, can you just tell us quickly, you mentioned a few things like scholarships and biogas projects and so forth. When you think about your upstream supply chains, so the DMCs and the operators and the agents and the international sellers, how can they actively support this project, even if they're not selling it as part of the itineraries? How can they engage with you financially and also logistically?
Yeah, knowing that Ndare is per se a not-for-profit enterprise, so the tourism that we do is just a social enterprise that we use to raise funding for our operation costs and also to support the community. So when we reach out to the guests who visit us, others get interest in wanting to support, which they do individually or as a group or as a foundation. In our neighborhood also we have lodges. We are bordering Borana Conservancy and Lewa Wildlife Conservancy. Africa's leading private luxury villa, for example, Sirai Lodge, is just our neighbor across the fence. And we do plenty of stuff together, not just bringing guests, but for example, when we want to do a water point for grazers who graze around the forest, they come in and assist us with such efforts just to enrich the experience that the communities have so that they can continue to support. So everyone is welcome, and there is a part each one of us can play in enriching this destination and also getting the benefits overflowing to the community.
Fantastic. Great. And is all that on your website? So it's clear for these suppliers that like how they can identify. Okay, great. And then do you have some type of system that like they get like you're tracking like how much they're supporting or donating? Because again, for these EU and global regulations, DMCs, operators, they need to start showing verified impacts. So they have to say that, you know, we did this and we did this. So you're able to communicate to them and verify that that was done again, and also to eliminate greenwashing.
Sure, that happens.
Great. Asante sana, Peter. Keep up the great work. It's very important. We know you're making a difference. So thank you very much. Okay, last but certainly not least, is a brand I'm sure everyone that's selling Africa and operating in Africa is familiar with. I mean, over the years that I've been involved, I just continue to be awed and amazed with the extensive level of work that they do to support, again, people in places in the communities. And I think given their brand and their resources, they've done a really good job to be able to do a proper monitoring and evaluation to show that the impact is significant. And again, I think another brand that's very collaborative and open to share their practices and learnings with the trade and the industry. So I'm very excited to let Grace from Asilia share with all of you their story.
Thank you so much, Melissa, for this opportunity. And yes, I am here to present Encounter Mara, which is part of Asilia Kenya. I'm the Sustainability and Positive Impact Lead. in Asilia, Kenya. And just a little bit about Asilia, we have camps and lodges in Kenya, Tanzania, and soon moving to Uganda. That should be January next year, and we're excited about it. And today we'll just be focusing on one of them, Encounter Mara. Encounter Mara, we are located in Nabosho Conservancy, and we were established back in 2011. Just excuse me, I reshare this. Just a minute. I think my screen froze for a minute. Yeah. Okay. I hope it can now move. Great. Yeah, so Encounter Mara, we are located in Nabosho Conservancy, and we've been there since 2011, and we are decorated by Ecotourism Kenya and have maintained a gold rating. And just to let you know that we are also B Corp certified under the Nawiri group. Asilia is under the Nawiri group. So we are B Corp certified, and that has really helped us to maintain the standards. The eco rating and being B Corp certified has greatly helped us to maintain our sustainability standard. And earlier this season, our Impact and Sustainability Board, they had a meeting, and one of the outcomes from that meeting was that our sustainability initiatives, they have, the portfolio has been, quote unquote scattered across the properties, and they felt it is good that we create a proof of concept and have a quote unquote best in class camp, and whatever will be done in that camp can be replicated in the other facilities. And Encounter Mara is the one that was shortlisted for that here in Kenya. And just to get right into what we have been doing, a bit of what we have been doing. In terms of our energy, we have been, the property is fully 100% off-grid, and we've been constantly working to invest in terms of upgrading our solar system. The idea is by the end of the day, we run 0 generator hours, Currently, 75% of our power is solar, and hence 25% definitely is coming from the generator, which is run by diesel. But in the spirit of just being more sustainable, we have a target to constantly upgrade that. But so far, we have seen one key outcome. I was just checking out this season comparing to the last season, from the constant upgrading of our system. So you have seen like our generator hours going down by a whole 50%. Yet this season, we have had more bed nights, compared to the last season. But also we are leveraging technology a lot in terms of remote monitoring of our system, so that from wherever you are able to monitor how is your consumption in camp, is the system faulty, and you're able to detect that and correct that as fast as possible. We've been doing a bit of research in terms of what are other kinds of sources of energy that we can use instead of the fossil fuels, and one of them is hydrogen. This is still at early stage, I must say, but then if it is something that we can consider in the future, we have been doing a bit of research on that, so that we can phase out the fossil fuels as much as possible. But another thing we are actively doing is waste management. And this we have actually involved everyone in the camp, all our staff. We have to, involve them in terms of sorting our waste at source, We have a monthly camp cleanup day where everybody will just come together and we do a thorough cleanup and do the sorting of the waste. But also just to let you know that we have partnered with ATTA Solutions who help us with the recycling of our solid waste. And I can confidently say that so far, like 95% of our waste is actually being recycled. Most of the times we are at 98%, Yeah, but I can say over 95% of the waste is being recycled. And something else we realized, when you are tracking your metrics, it really helps us, like you, to have data-driven decision making. And something we introduced this season was a sustainability dashboard. We have always had the monthly utility reports that have helped us like to monitor how much waste are we having, and out of that waste, what is food waste? What percentage is plastic? What percentage is glass? And etc. etc. And we noted that this season we have some low-hanging fruits where we can cut on our waste, and that was informed by the data that we have been tracking. And so the focus is on food waste and plastic waste, and out of that now we are able to tell. For instance, in terms of plastic, we are able to tell currently that most of our plastic waste is actually not like the PET. Much of it is the soft plastics and the hard plastics, and from that we are able now to collaborate with, for instance, the procurement as they are bringing in items into the camp. How can we reduce on our plastic packaging, for instance? And that has truly helped us, like with time, to see some positive outcome in all that. In terms of procurement, again, like I have said, we do have a strong policy framework that really governs our procurement. And one of the things that we have intentionally focused on is bulk purchasing, so that we can reduce on our resupplies. And also encouraging a lot of local sourcing, for instance, in terms of the meat products, our vegetables. We have truly tried to encourage that so that we can also, empower our communities, but also to make that the resupplies to lower a bit on that, and that has gradually helped us actually to reduce on our emissions again. Something else is being so intentional about engaging green suppliers. I have just listed a few here, but there are more. For instance, in terms of our cleaning products, just looking for who are the suppliers that are producing eco-friendly products and etc. Yeah. And just maybe to mention here, we realize, like in terms of the vegetables that we are using, we want to but recently, actually, I think it is we have introduced a grow house, hydroponics in Encounter Mara. That is actually, it was just launched, was it yesterday or over the weekend? So that at least we are, I think out of the 72% of our vegetables and the herbs will be coming from there. And if we are able actually to produce more and to supply to our other camps, that will truly improve in terms of farm to fork model, but something else we have is organization. Are they B Corp certified? Because we know they are truly conscious about their practices. So that has been at the forefront. And just to mention, like in March, we'll be doing an electric vehicle project in Encounter Mara, and we had to work with a B Corp certified organization, so it all ends up with, how is our supply chain? Those who are providing services to us, are they eco-conscious? And if they are not, then we try as much as possible not to go that route. Lastly, in terms of water, and this I'll just say briefly, if you can see that graph on the left there, that one I just extracted it from our sustainability dashboard. And because we have been able to put together all our historic data, you are able to tell this is the amount of water that, that every guest uses. Yeah, so that's just one of the examples of a graph for this season. Since it may not be so clear, but this is since June until now. And you're able to tell in July, for instance, that's when we had the highest water consumption per bed night, which was about 706 liters per bed night. But again, we have set targets as Encounter Mara. And one of the targets in terms of water is that it should not go, in terms of water consumption, it should not go above 500 liters per bed night. So, but the moment you look at, for instance, November there, it may not be so clear, but November is saying the consumption was 117 liters per bed night. And that's, you know, just having this visualization, you're able to ask yourself, why is that too low again from the target based on our historic data, you know? And that helps us now to know probably there's some leakage somewhere. We need to check, are we recording the right data, and etc. So I can't emphasize enough about tracking sustainability metrics, and that has truly helped us this far. In terms of the social aspects, we have been so intentional about hiring from the locality, yeah? And one of our funders, they're called ACCT Fund, they have, you know, one of the things that we must meet for Encounter Mara to be specific is that 90% of our employees have to come from the locality, you know? And it's not just maybe someone speaks Ma because now we are based in the Masai Mara and we take that as a local. No, it has to be specific from the Nabosho Conservancy, 50 kilometers radius, you know? If you're coming from that region, then you are a local. So we have been super keen on ensuring that any opportunity we have to bring on board one more person is, you know, we will prioritize as much as possible that 50-kilometer radius, yeah? And so far, so good, we are at 91%, but also working with local organizations just to, you know, to giving back to the communities around us. So you can see we work with the Ma Trust a lot. We have the MMWCA in terms of the conservancies. We are already in a conservancy, so just supporting the work of the conservancy. And this season, we are, MMWCA is establishing, you know, the Mara East landscape. So that's something that we are highly supporting. Yeah, and as I conclude, we're also working with the likes of KWT and the rest of them there. But maybe, Melissa, as I just finish briefly, what has truly worked for us is just having the backing from top leadership, but also the tracking of our sustainability metrics, but also involving our staff because they are a major stakeholder in all this, and documenting our learnings. Like we have failed in the past, but just documenting that and learning from that. And that has helped us truly to be where we are today. But I can't emphasize enough about partnerships, but also benchmarking with other organizations who are doing, you know, who are having sustainable practices. So I would say we are still on a journey, but definitely I'm confident that we're on the right track. Yeah, and thank you so much, Melissa.
Thank you. Well done. I'm hoping that you'll be able to share this presentation with the participants and others as well. A couple things that popped out for me that I think are important for everyone to be thinking about that's on this call, especially if you're an accommodation provider, is that you definitely, without question, if you're not already, you really need to start monitoring your energy and water consumption, your waste, and your plastic usage, because these things are going to be heavily scrutinized as a result of these EU regulations. And so the DMCs are going to have to be, and the operators are going to have to be accountable to their supply chain. So if you're a lodge or accommodation, without question, find a way to start doing that. I'm sure the team at Ecotourism Kenya have amazing tools and resources that are free or cost next to nothing, that are industry best practices to do that. I'm sure Asilia and Intrepid and some of these other folks on the call and industry people would be able to lend best practices. But I just want to highlight that as a thing to add on your to-do list. And then before we segue into the Q&A portion of the call, I think you hit something that is applicable to everybody, no matter who you are in the supply chain, is if you're going to start somewhere, look at your supply chain procurement. That to me is the easiest way to start addressing things, and look at what things that you're already purchasing, whether it's services or products, and what you can swap out that is more localized or something that is going to have a really, really meaningful impact from an environmental or social aspect. You know, we talked about honey from these human wildlife conflict projects as like an easy example. You know, furniture, I know Asilia uses furniture that's made from recycled roadside rubbish, you know, when you're refurbing or building a new lodge, you know. And then up the supply chain, if you're the DMC or the operator or the international agent, that becomes part of your storytelling. You tell the consumer or you tell the B2B partner, you should pick my property or you should pick us because we've curated these itineraries and this is the impact that it has along the way. And someone who does very well at that is Intrepid. Like, look at their storytelling. And again, they're happy to share that story. So thank you. So great. Fantastic. We're gonna hop into, just in the spirit of timing now, we've got a couple of questions that were sent in, and then we're gonna open it up to the group for some questions. One of the questions that came through was talking about certifications. And so as we're talking about how we pull this all together from a destination perspective, you can see here, you know, no pun intended, it takes a village. It takes all of us throughout the supply chain to do our part so that whether it's on a local, regional area or as a country, as a destination, there's a story to be told. And to be honest, I think that's where you get a lot more of the government buy-in from like the tourism boards and the associations to support it. But it's a chicken and an egg thing, right? So it's up to, I believe it's up to us as the private sector to be making sure that we're identifying ways in our operations and our procurement that have a bigger impact. It's up to the international business partners to start asking deeper, meaningful questions and to be rewarding good behavior. Reward and give your business to these suppliers and these partners that are doing these amazing things. And there's a marketing advantage there to sell that to the consumer. And then when you work with, you know, Kato and the Hotel Association and KTB, and it all comes together, and you guys are very fortunate because Ecotourism Kenya is an extraordinary resource right there in your backyard in Kenya. They are so competent, they are so knowledgeable, they are so experienced, they're internationally recognized. Like their process is exactly what everyone in the sustainability space is saying that needs to be done in terms of like a self-reflection, a coaching mechanism, and also an independent third-party verification to make sure that you're doing the right thing. So I'm just gonna, before we jump into the Q&A, I'm just gonna quickly let someone from the EK team just quickly take a minute or two to just, you know, say how they can get involved in the certification schemes, and that it's really not as scary as it seems. But I can assure you objectively, you know, depending on what market you're in, whether it's Ecotourism Kenya, if it's Travel Life for tour operators, you know, if it's down here in SA, Fair Trade Tourism, one of these schemes is, I can't say enough about how if you invest the resources and time to get through these certifications, it's going to open up so much access to the market for you. So does someone from EK want to quickly share some thoughts on your certification process? Mary, do you, yeah, oh, okay. Oh, Lynette, go ahead.
No, let just Mary proceed, because she's our membership and communication officer. Mary, if you're ready. If not, then I
Yeah.
can proceed.
Go ahead.
Yes, thank you, Melissa and Lynette, and also for the question on eco rating. Our certification program is actually voluntary, and it is open for accommodation facilities set in either natural or protected areas, and recently launched in cities and urban areas. The program itself is very well structured to present the three parts of sustainability, looking at environmental conservation, community engagement, and business practice. So hotels, or other lodges joining are sure to benefit from the certification in all aspects holistically. Yes. On the issue on greenwashing or claims of sustainability when people are not putting in the work or the effort, that is when they're using the emblems and they're not practicing, that is open for the public, the tourists, or other tourism professionals to point that out, and putting such tourism players in question, or even encouraging or sensitizing that they have to walk the talk. They can't just only say that they are say and not do. So from our database of operated facilities, we are always open to getting feedback from tourists and the industry at large to see those who may not be implementing. But we're very proud to see that all are always open to getting suggestions to move up the ladder, as the certification has 3 levels: bronze, silver, and gold. If anyone is interested, maybe they can say in the comments, and then we can share or schedule an in-depth meeting to explore what the certification looks like. Yes.
Amazing, amazing, great. Thank you so much. Another question that came through that kind of ties all of this together, because we did speak a couple times about supply chain procurement. I think one of the biggest frustrations for all of us, no matter who we are in the supply chain, is that everything is so fragmented, right? So each of us are busy consumed doing our own operations and our own jobs. So if we're an international agent or operator, it's hard to say, okay, I'd like to support a local project or, an NGO or a social enterprise, but, I'm too busy running my business and sourcing proper suppliers. How do I know how to vet a proper project to sort that is legitimate and transparent and the impact is real? The same with like the DMCs and the accommodations, right? Like, where do I find these services or these products if I don't already know about it, because people don't know what they don't know. So you guys, everyone here on the call is the first to hear that there will be an exciting announcement at this year's Indaba. They were hoping to announce it at WTM, but it looks like it might get pushed a little bit. So let's just say Indaba. But there is in the works and will be launched this year a open source continent-wide industry resource to go to for services and product for supply chain procurement. And so the criteria for these things will be obviously that things have to have a direct social and environmental impact. So, some of the examples that we gave here, like like solar, water filters, biodegradable cleaning products, honey that supports human wildlife conflict projects, et cetera, et cetera. So from small to super big things. So we're hoping that that's going to make things a little bit easier for the trade to get engaged and do more, and it will help support your journey should you choose to do like an ecotourism or similar certification. And then that's how you show your transparency and how you can market yourself to your B2B partners to say, pick us, or even the travelers, pick us because this is the impact that working with us or booking your travel or staying with us has. From a social perspective, that was the spirit and the intention of ATTA for Action. And so, ATTA being the thought leaders that they are, to find a way to create a Pan-Africa network of NGOs and projects that are credible, that are established, that are locally led, that have impact directly into the communities, for DMCs and operators and international agents to be able to include support via itineraries and bed nights to localize projects. So there are frameworks out there to be that resource to make life easier for you, no matter where you are in the supply chain. It's just up to you to engage and to do it. And again, I want to just say this with with all sincerity, like, consider this your warning that there's an iceberg ahead. It's coming. These EU and global regulations are going to mandate it. And if you cannot verify throughout your supply chain and your operations, your impact, a lot of these operators and DMCs will not be able to use you as a supplier if you don't meet the criteria, or they risk losing business and paying big fines in their home countries. So that's my 2 cents to kind of summarize that. We've got about 5 minutes left. If anyone in the group wants to ask a question related to this and the collective impact. And if not, if anyone, go ahead and you can raise your hand. Blessing will let you in, or you can put a question in the chat. Otherwise, we'll turn it over to our fearlessly. Oh, Irene, go ahead. You have a comment? Go ahead.
I think mine is just a comment to ecotourism. The Ecowarriors Award is a beautiful thing. It's some event that brings operators together and all the suppliers. If we could have incorporated into it where a networking session where, because I'm learning from my other colleagues a lot that we could partner with them. So if we could probably incorporate something that the like-minded can have a networking session, so that we can share ideas, we can see how we can partner together in different aspects. I think that would be a great initiative.
Great, very good feedback. Great, thanks so much. Okay, great. Someone is asking a question about how youth and tourism and conservation education can adopt best practices. I would say reach out directly to Ecotourism Kenya. They have a tremendous amount of resources, and they also have a great program for capacity building for SMEs as well that can be incorporated. So there's a lot of focus on youth and education and SME capacity building. Okay, everyone, thank you so much. I'm going to hand this over just for final closing remarks from Lynette and KG. If Lynette, you'd like to wrap this up before KG says goodbye to everybody.
Okay. Thank you so much, Melissa, together with the panelists, for that incredible and insightful webinar that we just had. It's indeed a wonderful thing that we've already done, and we are hoping that this will end here. So we are looking forward to have more of this partnership and collaboration between Ecotourism Kenya and ATTA, and just to ensure that our members learn more. And we also thank you, Melissa, for your great moderation, especially just sharing the insight in matters responsible tourism and what globally people are doing. So as moving forward, and just let us to continue be ambassador of responsible travel, ensuring that our tourism practices leave a positive impact for people, places, and also a planet. And I can also encourage those who are not members of Ecotourism Kenya, you can join us, our membership, because we have different categories of membership. We have our individual member, we have corporate membership, we have tour operators who can be a member, travel agent, training institution. So you can get in touch with our membership and our communication through our website and also our social media platforms. We also have a YouTube page where you can subscribe and get to understand more about our activities and also about our Ecowarrior Award, together with some of the winners, because today we just highlighted a few of our winners, but we do have categories of other winners. And then looking forward, we also have, currently we're organizing for an annual forum, which is scheduled in June. That is 12 and 13. We are yet to do like a formal communication on that. And we're just calling upon those who are interested to support this initiative through partnership, and also just to come and attend. You are also welcome. We also have our annual general meeting together with the launch of our strategic plan. Currently, we are at the design stage. And once that is done, we can be able also to make it public so that our stakeholders, together with our members, can know what we are up to. And then I've seen on the comment section, one of our students was asking, how can they be able to engage? Currently, we are organizing for our leadership and mentorship program that we're supposed to take place in April. And we are calling upon those organizations that would love to take upon students for them to be hosted for 3 months. You can also reach out to us so that we can be able to direct you on how we can partner and also we can engage. So once again, thank you so much for being part of this. And we're looking forward to continuing this dialogue, especially with the Ecotourism Kenya members and those who are not also members of Ecotourism Kenya. Thank you so much. Over to you, Melissa and KR.
Asante Dada. All right, KG, take us
you.
home.
Thank you, Melissa. And thank you, CEO. Thank you, Lynette. Just to echo what you've said, this has been an incredibly insightful. I was furiously writing notes, and Melissa, thank you for guiding this process. So very well done. I thank you. I thank you for your insight and your industry knowledge to be able to steer the conversations. Irene, what you've said there at the end, your comment about collaboration, I couldn't agree more. I think it's platforms like these, also CEO of Ecotourism Kenya, where we get to collaborate and share knowledge that, was it Max's presentation? Was it Peter's? I can't remember. If you want to go further, we go together. And I think this is exactly the spirit with which we want to continue. And to your point as well, CEO Lynette, may this not be the end. I think it is when we share together. Melissa just mentioned there is an iceberg coming, and I think it is better if we all prepare together for the future ahead, for the benefit of everybody in the promotion of African tourism. Thank you so much for this incredible session, and until next time. Back to you, Melissa.
Thank you, everybody. And as always, the team at ATTA is extraordinary when it comes to organizing pre and post webinar follow-up. So stand by for some follow-up information from Blessing and the team for any supplemental materials. So panelists, please be sure to send all your documents to her so that we can get this out to everybody. And you should expect to see the recording on the ATTA website in the next day or two.
Sorry, I meant to say a small housekeeping matter that yes, the recording will be shared to all the participants of this, even the ones that left early or only came in for a short period of time, they'll receive the entire recording, and we will share all the presentations with the people that opted, that registered and opted in to receive. And also Blessing will share people who've joined in, who've opted in to receive more information. All those contacts will be shared as well. Thank you.
Perfect. Great. Thanks, everybody. If you need anything, we're here. Just give a shout. And yes, just the journey to sustainability starts with one step. So go back to your teams. I hope you're inspired to take that first step and see what happens next. Bye.
Bye-bye.
Bye.
Thank you very much. Have a good one.